Alright, you should have received 3 files for the install. The example import, the MSI installer, and a license file. To start the install, we click on the MSI file, click Next, accept the license agreement, go to Custom to check out the location of the install, confirm it's going to Program Files x86, okay. Now back and just do a typical install. Install it. At this point, you probably got a user access control message from Windows. Accept it. You'll note that the Itfoots installer isn't signed. If that's an issue for you, contact support. The installation is giving us some directory information. So look at the installation directory. That should match the install directory we just noted, the program files x86. Now look at the work directory. That should be off of the user directory in the app data local folder. If either of these folders aren't as expected, please contact support. Click OK. Install finished. Click Finish. At this point, the installer put 2 icons in your desktop. Let's just drag them into view and start the admin application. It opens. Let's pull it into view. We need to now update the license. Click Update License. Select that license file you got. Click Open. And boom, we have a valid license. Alright, now go to Start Stop Server. Start the DB first. Click Start DB. There you go. Alright, at this point we're starting it in desktop mode, which is different from deploying it as a server. We'll show you how to do that later. Click Start Web App after the DB finished. The desktop mode, when it's running, only you can use it. It runs on the local host. It's good for working on the import and kind of experimenting with it, and then you can deploy to everybody later. Alright, so it looks like the web app is finishing. Check. Alright, both of those are up and running. Now go to Initial Excel Import. Open the home page. At this point, it's not authenticated. We have to configure single sign-on for the browser. So click Tools, Internet Options, go to the Advanced tab, and now find the single sign-on authentication option. It's in the security group, and there it is, Windows Authentication. Alright, now go to the Security tab, click on the local internet, Sites, Automatically Detect, go to Advanced, and then add our website to it. Close, OK, Apply. Now refresh the browser, and we should get the welcome page. Excellent. As you notice, we're using Internet Explorer. The dashboard works with all the browsers, but for the install, let's stick with Internet Explorer. So if you open the home page and another browser open, just copy the URL and go into Internet Explorer, and then you can contact support later about configuring the dashboard for the other browsers. So now we can do the import. If you look on the welcome screen, you're given your SSO login here. Let's copy that and then minimize the browser. Alright, now we're going to go to that import file, open that. Takes a second while my add-ins load up. Alright, we're in the Users tab. Now go to that cell that's in blue and paste in your single sign-on. So that's your user that you're going to get logged in as. Now go to the Firm section. Let's save so we don't forget. Look at this section with the folders. We have 2 root folders off the C drive. And then we have a couple of shared drives in the P section. Those are mapped to the local. The dashboard, the best installation is to be installed on the actual file server. So it can operate with the local drives and then share out the drives to the rest of the firm. You'll note that both the client and the knowledge base drives are empty. These directories are obviously specific to my machine. They're off the C users JSON folder. You need to edit the client and the knowledge base local folders, the ones off the C drive. And then you need to establish and edit the shared versions of those folders. Once you make those changes, save the Excel file, and then you can proceed. Alright, now let's import it. So back into the initial Excel import, Start import. Gives you a warning. The import wipes the database, so if you have live data and you don't know what you're doing, don't do the import. Select that import file and we're off and running. It imports the different sections separately. There is a different tutorial that you can watch that walks through the actual import that we're doing and deals with the structure of the data and then where to go from there. That's beyond the scope of the installation tutorial. For now, we just want to get it up and running and make sure it's working. So now it's importing the fees, initial year fees, so we're almost done. Finished. All right, let's go back to that home page, click refresh, and we should get our user props. All right, excellent. So we are now officially in the tax dashboard. We go to the firm. There are those folders that we're looking at. There's our license information. Go to a knowledge base. There are all the knowledge base articles that we imported. Engagements. Here are all the engagements that we imported. Now go to the folder setup. You'll notice that all the folders say create because that client directory was empty. So let's go back to it. See clients, nothing in there. All right, so we don't want to have to create those folders by hand. So we open up that other app, the Tools application. Pull it into view. Excellent. All right, now we're going to click Create Client Folders. This goes through and it only creates the ones that are missing. So you can run this whenever just to kind of fill in the blanks on the missing folders. Look, now we have a client folder for each engagement. You click into the underlying. We have the underlying folder structure created for us. And like I said, as you roll the filing years, you change the types of filings. Now you'll notice knowledge base is empty, so we go and we create the knowledge base folders. So what I was saying before is it fills in the folders, so you can run it whenever, and it just creates the ones that are missing. Excellent. All right, now go back into the board. Let's refresh. And we see now all our folders are ready. They're available. Go to a knowledge base. This says missing. If you mouse over, it's just because the index file isn't there. The folder is available, and now we actually have to create those knowledge base articles. We can minimize these windows and close the Tools app. We don't need that anymore. All right, now we need to deploy to the server. Right now we're in desktop mode. If we try to exit the application, we can't. You have to be in the application to run the server. That's not going to work for us. So stop the web app. We are going to install some Windows services so that the server will run via Windows services. When you reboot the server, they can start back up. The desktop mode that we've been using is just that. It's for when you're in front of the computer. It's not meant to run. All right, so we just stopped the DB there. Almost done. All right, so both of those stopped and close. Now we go to the work directory that we noted earlier in the install. See it in the app local data. In there's a bin directory with one bin file that we run as administrator to install the services. Just flashed a little bit. You actually get that Windows user access control message. Click OK on it. Alright, so that finished up fine. Press any key to continue, closes it. Now let's open up the actual services and find what Windows services were installed. Scroll down, they start with Itfoots, so these are in alphabetical order. There it is, there's a database server and the Tomcat server. So start the database server. Start the Tomcat server. Alright, now let's go back to the actual admin app. The one last thing that we have to deal with is the actual server name. Right now we're using, refresh and you'll see both the servers now are up and running outside of the admin app. Now we're still using the 127.0.0.1, which is the local host IP address. Let's find the actual physical IP address for this machine. 10.0.0.6. So we'll use that. Change the server name. Click on it. 10.0.0.6. Save. Alright, now you'll notice if you go to the Start Server tab, you'll notice the URL change to include that IP address. Open the home page and we get an authentication problem. We have to go and configure Windows Single Sign-On for this new HTTP address. Click Advanced, add the 10.0.0.6 one, okay, refresh, and we're back in action in server mode. For this example, we used an IP address. If you want to actually use a name for the server, you can talk to your network administrator about a DNS entry. Alright, so now we're done with the browser. Let's close out of that. We're done with the admin app. Close out of that. And let's go back to the services. They're still running. Let's just change one thing. Go to Properties, Startup Type, Automatic, okay. For the database, Properties, Startup Type, Automatic, okay for Tomcat. Now the tax dashboard will, servers will start when this machine is rebooted. And we can close out of that, and that is the end of this tutorial.